Today I'll be asking you a series of questions about the older generation versus the newer generation. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay. Question number one. Can you see a generation gap between yourself and the younger generation?
yes, I can see a gap. I think it's a big gap there between the young and the old because when I was brought up, it's so many different things that we didn't have that the new generation have today, like
Mm-hmm.
electronics, phones, video, iPad, headphones. It is so many different things that the new generation had that I didn't have. So it is a big gap there.
Okay.
Even with communication, it's a big gap.
Mm-hmm. Second question. In your opinion, are individuals from the older generations more wiser in making decisions for themselves than a newer generation?
Yeah, I think the older generation had better probably qualification in learning how to deal with problems than the new generation because with the new generation, it's like going to the internet, solve the problem there. We didn't have the internet to solve. We had to try to think about it, try to figure out, try to learn how to deal with it that way. So I think the old generation had a better way of solving problems than the new generation because new generation everything is fast, fast, fast. If you want something fast, Google it on the internet and you get your answer. You don't even have to read it or research. You can get it real fast. So the old generation had a better way of solving problems.
Okay. Number three, what do you consider one of the main reasons for the generation gap disputes or disagreements and why?
I I believe it's communication. I think that's the main reason because today everything is slang, everything is short. No one sit down and try to talk about it or try to communicate. They just leave it, and if you don't communicate, I believe that's the biggest problem because we don't communicate a lot. I think that's the biggest problem.
Okay.
We're thinking the old generation don't know what they're talking about. The new generation don't value the old wise wisdom that the old generation might have to give them. They figure, okay, this is a different time than what you guys have, and our time is different. You're right about that, but majority of the time, the problem is almost the same. Communication is the problem.
Okay.
Some of the problems I had in my days, some of the generation are having it in their time. So it's just about communication, I believe.
Okay. Number four, do you think the problems arising from the generation gap can be resolved?
Yeah, I think it can be resolved. And the reason why I said that is because, again, sitting down, uh, having a discussion panel on both sides, and just hearing out what each side have to say, instead of just making your own mind up before you understand where the other person is coming from. We need to really have a dialogue, really get a chance to know our history from the old generation to the new generation.
Number five, have experience being a coworker to individuals who are younger than you, correct?
Yes.
Would you say that it was hard working with them?
It's all depend on the individual person. I'm a type of person that I get on with everyone. So with me, it wasn't hard because they look to me as someone older, and they look for me as for wise decisions because they knew where I came from and they knew who I was. So it wasn't hard for me because I represent myself very well. So they was able to come and talk to me. So it wasn't hard for me.
Okay. And also, do you think it was hard for them working with you?
I don't think it was hard. Like I said, they was easy to come and talk to me because I made it that easy. I welcomed them to come and have a dialogue with me, talk to me, and we could understand each other. Things that I didn't understand, they would tell me. Things that they didn't understand, I would tell them. So on both accounts, I believe we help each other out. I don't think it was hard. Like I said again, it's all depending on who the individual person is.
Hmm. Number six, in your opinion, do you think the younger generation have respect for the older generation? Why or why not?
I think that the older generation, the young generation, do not have respect for the older because they assume that okay, that was your time, this is our time, things are different. You're so right, but respect is respect. If you give respect, you should get respect back, no matter how old you are, how young you are. Respect is respect. If you don't give it out, then how you expect to get it back?
Number 7, have you ever had a disagreement with a friend or family member that was younger than you? And you don't have to explain the disagreement. But if so, do you think that it had something to do with the age gap and what you have experienced to prove that you are right versus them?
Yeah, it has something to do with the age gap. Yeah, I've had an experience with someone, a family member, someone younger than me, and because of the way I was brought up, and the way my mom and my parents taught me, and the way I was trying to teach them, it is a gap.
Number 8, how do you think a generation gap can cause a problem in a workplace, such as a school, or personal things such as relationships?
I think the generation gap between the older as well as the newer generation, it can cause a problem again because I've always believed by follow example, and I believe that if I give the respect out, I'll get it back. So I don't think that communication would be a problem between me and the person we having a dispute, or it's going to be a gap there, because I'm able to close the gap. I'm able to come and talk to you and try to figure out what it is. But also, it's all depend on the younger person that I'm having the conversation with or dispute with. Are they willing to listen to me? Are they willing to understand that I may know a little more than you because of age? Because the longer you live, the more you learn, the more experience you will have. So I have the experience to tell them. But if they don't want to listen to it, yeah, it's going to cause a problem because some will listen, some won't. It will cause a dispute.
Number 9, do you believe anything that makes sense to you but you don't think would make sense to the younger generation?
Yeah, I do. I believe it's a lot of things that make sense to me that don't make sense to them because they don't see where I'm coming from. They don't know the experience that I've had, that I've seen, that I went through in order to justify what I'm trying to tell them. They only can see who I am now. They didn't see who I came from and who I came up to be now. So, yeah.
And lastly, number 10, do you have any other situations that can be positive or negative that you have come upon because of the age gap between you and another individual?
Yes. In my days that I've worked in school, because I've worked in school for many years, and I come across a lot of different age group. The school I worked for was 17 to 21, so I have an opportunity to talk to those that are 17, those become 18 to 21, so every group is different. You know, the relationship is different. What I have to tell the 17-year-old compared to a 20-year-old would be a little different. Is it a girl or a boy? It all depends who it is coming to me. So that will, that determine what I have to say and how they see and how they view me.
Thank you so much for participating in my interview.
You're welcome, Ms. Jackson. I'm glad that you decided to ask me these questions, and it made a good impression on myself as well as the old generation versus the new generation, because sometimes we don't think about the question that you asked me. And they were very, very interesting questions, and I appreciate that you gave me a chance to express what I feel and what I went through. So thank you so much, too, as well.
Thank you. I'm glad that I did.